Hi, my name is Blair, and I was the costume designer for the film Obsession, and I'm also a stylist as well. And that's kind of me.
Before I talk about obsession or anything you've done, I'm going to talk to you about you first because I love asking people about that. I read that you said you were never really into fashion growing up, and I know that you initially went to school for dancing and acting. What did you want to be growing up, and what initially led you to pursuing a degree in acting and dancing?
So my whole life, like ever since I was like very young, I wanted to be a lawyer and take over my dad's law firm. He's a criminal
Wow.
defense attorney.
Hmm.
And that was like my dream until I was like 17. Like it was the plan. I took every class I could in middle school and high school to prepare me for law school and all that stuff. And then I started dancing competitively when I was 12. So I started really late, but I really fell in love with it. And I like say I wasn't into fashion growing up, but like I think sometimes I kind of look back and I'm like, there were little signs. Like I had like over like 50 leotards when I was dancing just because I loved having really cool and different leotards. And I cared a lot about which leotards I had.
Hmm.
So there were like little things like that, but I was really into dancing for most of middle school and high school. And then about my junior year, I had a dance instructor tell me, I had a few of them tell me, like, oh, I think you should pursue it professionally. And I loved it enough that I made the choice to move to LA to give it a shot. And my parents are lawyers, so they're very like logistic. And so there was kind of like a timeline on it, kind of like they were always very real with me. They were very supportive, but they were very like, you know, if this doesn't work out, you need to come back and go to law school. Like you need to be for real. And so I went out for dancing and then I came out here and I just remember being in a hip hop class and I was like classically trained. So I was in a hip hop class and I was like, I cannot make it in this city. It was like the era of hip hop too. Like that was like when WAP was coming out and stuff. Like it was like a whole different like vibe of dancing. And I just was like, I cannot book that vibe. And I was like really realistic with myself. And so I ended up switching over to acting and because I really liked it and I was like, let me give it a shot. And then my senior year of college, I was producing a low budget musical. And with that musical, I we didn't have the money to afford a costume designer. And I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I just like recently, probably during COVID, got into like dressing up and fashion. I started getting really, really into it. And I had like made this Instagram called Fits with Blair. It's still around today,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I made it just to like post my outfits. And then I ended up costuming that show and I got nominated for a national award. And the lady who gave me the award was like, you should really look into like you should really look into this. Is that like these are the best costumes I've seen on a college stage
What
ever.
was the show?
It was called Castrated Sex Demon. It was
Oh
a
my
like
gosh.
horrible first like credit in the name, but yeah, it was like an original show that my friend wrote and um I didn't know anything about what I was doing, but it was kind of also this weird experience where I knew exactly what I was doing. Like
Mm.
a lot of it just came very naturally to me. And like I think dance and acting really helped because I break down scripts
Yeah.
like I did as an actor, and like dance is really movement based, and like I still am super movement based. Like I love watching like videos of the actors walking and moving because it helps me see how they're going to move in clothes, and it like kind of all comes together. Like I feel like everything made sense, but um towards the end of college, I was like, I hate attention like that. Like I hate like I was like, I don't think I want to be in front of this camera. Like I really don't. And I ended up just really committing to styling and costume design. And that's kind of how I like started like getting into it as a whole. I kind of always think it found me in a way. It was always around like growing up. I don't know if you remember that website. It was like girlsgogames.com.
Oh yeah.
For
Hmm.
literally hours of my life after school, I would play dress up games
Oh my gosh.
on that like website. I actually went back a few weeks ago and started playing some games again. It was really fun. But yeah, I think I've always like been into it, but I think it really found me at the right time with like the right tools to be good at it.
Correct me if I pronounce this name wrong, but you've talked a bit about how you're not a huge idol person. I'd love to talk to you, however, about mentors you've mentioned. Like you mentioned Daniela Romero.
Yes.
Any other mentors, or you could talk about Daniela, but just like mentors that helped you work up and get better at what you do in costuming.
Yeah, I had a lot of great mentors. I feel like I got spoiled with mentors because I feel like I found a lot of people that really believed in me and really were there to like shape me. When I was in high school, my mentor became Arlene Sugano. She goes by Miss A, but she is like a renowned, like super intelligent ballet coach. And she started working with me privately in high school. And I had like a lot of dance teachers that just really weren't supportive or
Yeah.
viewed me very artistically or like viewed me with like potential. And she really like sought after me because she was like, I think you have like a really strong artistry that like I want to like invest in. And like to this day, like she has invested in me more than probably anyone. I would call her like my creative mom because I have my mom and then I have like my creative mom. But she like gave me a lot of like courage and bravery. Like I feel like a lot of like how I navigate the industry is like really like based off like things she taught me when I was really young.
Hmm.
And then when I was in college, I met Sal Romeo, who passed away a couple years ago, but he was my acting coach and he really believed in me and really believed in my costume work. And I used to send him like Google Drives of like 900 photos and he would just like look through them and like give me notes and talk about it. And he really like, it breaks my heart he couldn't see Obsession because I'm like, he would have just like loved that movie and the costumes in it so much. So it's like, he really like encouraged me to pursue it. And like, even though my acting coach and like, he was the one who like told me like I think you want to do this more, like I think you should like lean into it more. And then like the very early of my career with costume design and styling, I got very oddly connected to Tara Swinnon, who's like Kristen Stewart's stylist, and she has like Allison Janney, she has a
Hmm.
bunch of people. And Tara was like the best first boss I could have ever had. She's like still to this day like everything I want to be as a costume designer and stylist. And I really like just it's really rare in this industry to meet stylists at the level that Tara is at that invest in you and mentors you the way she did. And I'm really glad I had her at the very beginning because I feel like it really set me up for like so much success on my own. And then I freelanced for like 3 years, met every freaking person and their dog styling. I was like literally assisting anyone I could. But Daniela Romero, I met like right before Obsession,
Hmm.
and we just really clicked as like assistant, like boss energy.
Yeah.
And she really is like still like such a great mentor for me because she's like she's so knowledgeable and so well established in a way that's like she's sorry, let me take it back. She's so well established and knowledgeable and like she literally is a phone call away. Like I've called her probably 20 times just this year being like, what do I do about this? Like, do I put this in a contract? Like I'm like, what do I do? Like she's just so helpful. And I literally like look up to her work so much. Her work is phenomenal.
Hmm.
She does like Chris Brindley and a bunch of like people that are just in her work on it is just incredible. I like literally aspire to be like her so much.
Oh, it's so cool. Can you think of the first costume that you ever created that really like clicked with you where you were like, I can do this? Like you said, that you were like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I also really know what I'm doing. Can you think of like the first costume that like you like really connected with that you created?
Um, gosh, like I don't know if it was in the first show. Like I feel like I get emotionally attached to everything I create. But I did this show. It was Macbeth, but it was like this anime version of it. Like it was very like anime style, which I had never done before.
Yeah.
And it was really scary for me because it was just so outside my comfort zone. But it was like the third show I ever costume designed. And I did this piece where I took like what's the word? It's like iridescent iron on fabric. And I pretty much what I took this like long dress with like these drapey arms and I covered it head to toe essentially in this iridescent fabric in triangles, like in this like broken shot. It looked like a shattered menagerie. And I spent probably 60 hours on it. And I had so much pride in it. And it was like kind of a moment where I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got something going on here. Like it wasn't like the best, I don't like have really heavy pride in it now, but like
Hmm.
for where I was at the time I was, like, it was very like a moment where I was like, oh, okay, like, I don't know what I have going on, but I got something in here like going on. I have like a lot of kind of just realized over time I had like a lot of natural ability that I never experienced that in my entire life. Like I feel like so narcissistic saying that, but like it was I had to work hard for dance. I had to work so hard for acting. I had to work hard for like literally everything in my life. And then I got this job and I was like, this is so it just felt always so simple to me in a way that was like it just made sense how to do it.
Hmm. You've you've talked about like the mental and emotional side of dealing with people's bodies and their biggest insecurities and like helping people heal themselves and like as an actor I love the way that you talk about this. Can you just like elaborate a bit more about this and how you've like how this has evolved with you like throughout your work maybe from stage to the screen to just like how you celebrity styling and such.
Yeah, so I'm super protective of people's bodies and I'm very protective of like how they feel about their body. Oops, sorry, my chair's loud. I'm very protective about how people feel about their body. And I always want people to leave a fitting feeling equally as good about their body or even better about their body.
Hmm.
And that can be hard sometimes with costumes because like like Michael for Bear and Obsession, like all his clothes were oversized and baggy and
Yeah.
drapery and slouchy. And that was intentional. And it was kind of like a thing in the fitting me and Michael really had to talk about. I was like, this is not a reflection of you. This is your character. And
Hmm.
sometimes you have to like really kind of like explain that to people because it is hard to separate. And it's your body. It's like, everyone comes with insecurities and like baggage with it. And I
Yeah.
think I really understand that because like I grew up like a very obese child. I was like almost 200 pounds at 10 years old.
Hmm.
And I grew up like overweight until I grew like 8 inches in a year. And so like my whole body like slimmed out because I went like, I don't know what happened, but I just got really tall and it helped slim me out. But um, when I was younger, I kind of looked like a little mini Gru, and I spent a lot of time in like department stores because I could only shop in the older ladies section because I was a size 16 and I couldn't shop in anything my age. And so like, your offers are like all dresses made for like mature women. And so like I'm like 11 trying to figure out how I can get a dress for a cotillion.
Yeah.
And I think during those times where I'd spend like hours in a dressing room just trying on everything I could, just to see what looked the best, like it really taught me a lot about clothes and the way clothes can like um, change the appearance of your body and change um, the story you want to tell people.
Hmm.
And I like obviously grew up overweight, then I like slimmed out. So like I've kind of experienced like two like parts of life where it's like, you're like an overweight child and then like I slimmed out and like clothes were just like so much easier to style for me personally once I got taller because it was just like the difference. But um I really started when I started, I was really like particular about taking care of people's bodies because I had to take care of my own body and I didn't really have anyone that like mentored that. I mentored myself through that body dysmorphia, that body change, all those things, all those insecurities. And I really like want to be able to like help people in that experience as well. It's never about changing a person's body. It's just how can we best complement the body you are at right now. There's
Yeah.
no need to change anything. No one's body is wrong or right. There's no better answer to it. It's just like, how can we like dress this space the best? Essentially, like it's like a painting. Everyone's like a palette in a way. Like they're their own canvas, and I'm painting on the canvas. So it doesn't matter what the canvas is, and it doesn't mean I never want to change anyone's canvas. I want to always support the current canvas because they're beautiful regardless. And something I've really learned too is so funny is it's not funny, but is like people's biggest insecurities. Like people in my like in fittings will be like, "Oh, I'm so insecure about like blank," and I'll
Mm.
be like, "But that to me is the most beautiful part of your body." Like that was like to me the thing that like really stood out as stunning on your body. And it really helped me cure so many insecurities in myself because I was like, wow, we are like the only ones noticing this about ourselves. Like, and if people are noticing things about someone else's body, like that's
Mhm.
really kind of on them at that point. But I am a big proponent. Like I always say, if I want to write a book, like my dream is to write a book about how to properly talk to people about their bodies.
Mhm.
There's a big movement of like, don't talk about other people's bodies, but that's so unrealistic. It
Mhm.
really is. And it can
Yeah.
be dangerous to people too. If someone's like, in experiencing an ED or something, like someone that's close to you, or like you're a father to a teenage girl who's like going through puberty and like she doesn't understand her body. Like, these are things that we actually should learn as tools. Like, the less we talk about something, the less knowledgeable we'll be about it. So like I'm really a big proponent of like learning how to speak to people about their body in a way that is not offensive nor um, something they'll carry as trauma.
Mm.
And you just like it's something I've learned over the years in fittings. I've never been perfect. I'm sure I've said things to people that I had no idea affected them negatively.
Yeah.
But I'm always trying to like really prioritize my fittings to me are like the most sacred experience because you just are really taking care of someone's biggest insecurities. And I always want to like try to leave it as positive as I can. And I'm really picky about like my assistants. Like I do not just let anyone come into a room and
Yeah.
be in that space because I can't control what other people say, but I'm always like very picky about the people I let into that space because it does matter to me. It matters more than anything to me is like how people feel about their bodies.
That's so beautiful. How do you approach fittings? Of course, you can never be perfect, but it sounds like you take a lot of care with how you approach them.
Yeah, like there's like small things like I never put anything on the rack that I know won't fit. Like if there's
Mhm.
like something that I think will be too tight on someone, I don't even play that game because if you could imagine like going to a fitting and say sometimes it's people's first fitting and they'll put on a skirt that's too tight and they can't zip it. That immediately creates such a negative connotation on themselves and their body, they feel like they're at fault because they're not fitting
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of it is just being really smart about sizing. Like I'm like, I want the measurements to the T. And like
Hmm.
I've had people like fight back against it, like, why do you need that much information about my measurements? And I'm like, I want it because it's in a way to protect them. Like it's being knowledgeable, it's being smart, it's really taking the time to like look at their body and understand the best way to accommodate it and to protect it. So like I'm very picky what goes on the rack because the rule is whatever I put on the rack and the fitting, I'm saying it's okay, it can be worn
Yeah.
essentially. So if it's not, I like literally go through the rack so many times being like, this will for sure work, this won't work, this won't work. And sometimes I do put things that I'm like, I don't know how this will fit on their body. But if I do put it on them, I'll preface it like, hey, I don't know how this is going to stretch or fit
Hmm.
on your body. Are you willing to try it? Always asking people like, can I touch you here? Like you don't know where anyone has, you don't know what anyone carries or anything.
Hmm.
And also something I do before is I email them like, and I always say like, if there's anything about you or your body or your relationship with clothes that you want to flag to me now or at any time during the process, like I'm all ears because your comfortability is like the first priority. And people have really opened up. Like when you open up that floor to them, they really open up to you. And it really helps to break boundaries with people. Like I've had, like, you sometimes have to break boundaries because everyone has a box around their taste in clothes and what they want to wear. And
Hmm.
that gets complicated when you start doing costumes because sometimes what someone wants to wear is not what a character would wear.
Yeah.
And it's equally as much part of their job to meet me halfway as it is my job to meet them halfway.
Hmm.
So I always try to open the floor, let them speak their piece. Like I had an actor once say, like, I really don't like to feel constricted on my waist. Like it makes me feel anxious when I
Yeah.
act and the pants are too tight or they're too high waist. And so like that opened up the floor to me being like, okay, well, like this is what your harness is going to be like. Do you want us to try to find an alternative harness for your stunts, or do you feel comfortable wearing this? Like it opens the floor in a way and solves problems early on so that you're not hurting someone in the later process.
Yeah. And you originally did acting. Do you have any experiences with costuming from when you were an actor that have stuck out with you that maybe you've brought into your time in costuming?
Yeah, I it was honestly more there was like one moment in a show I did where I was wearing like a bra and low-rise jeans and I was just like not eating before the show.
Mhm.
I was like doing ab exercises like every second I could get to like wear that outfit and I kind of like it made me so uncomfortable on stage that it was all I could think about. And that's something I really try to avoid is like making anyone uncomfortable. But a lot of my costume trauma came from my dance studio.
Yeah.
Because even though I like had lost a lot of weight, like I was still I'm a thick, curvier girl. So like compared to my like peers in dance who were very thin and like less curvier, some of the costumes that we'd pick for group dances just did not accommodate my body.
Yeah.
And there were times I would like really stand up and speak up for myself like hey like this costume gives me a camel toe and my dance teachers did not care and that was like a huge I was like 18 on a competition stage dancing with a camel toe as like a lead in this number and it's so embarrassing
Hmm.
and I remember crying so hard about it because I had begged and begged and begged to not wear the pants that gave me the camel toe at the
Yeah.
age of 18. Like I was like a full adult, like not wanting to do that. And they were really mean about it and they were really like dismissive about it. And I feel like that also really shapes me as well. Like I'm constantly looking for like, I never want anyone to be embarrassed as well. Like,
Yeah.
I want to protect people. Like the internet is a mean, mean place. And like
Hmm.
people will screenshot stuff, they'll zoom in on stuff. I'm so cautious of protecting people because I felt like I wasn't protected. And
Yeah.
so it's something that I just always prioritize. It really is like my number one driving force.
Hmm. I just with the internet in general, but how does being a costume designer impact the way you watch television and movies? I know you've talked about how which we'll get into this more later when we talk about obsession, but seeing 20-year-olds not dressing like 20-year-olds, but in general, when you're watching anything, can you separate? Can you
No,
no?
no, I can't separate anytime. I'm so sensitive to clothing and colors. Oh my God, like colors like really drive me so bad. But um I'm very sensitive to clothing, like in the way of like, I feel like I'm always studying it. And
Hmm.
like, I feel bad. Like sometimes I go out with people and they're like, oh, I didn't dress up. And I'm like, I'm never judging anyone
Yeah.
for what they wear. And I'm never judging anyone's costume work because sometimes there's reasoning behind it that I don't even understand. Like I remember the first time I watched Shutter Island, I was like, what are these goofy ties? When they were on the boat, I was like, what is this? And then you get to the end and you're like, that's fucking genius. You never know sometimes. Like, sometimes I was making choices in obsession that was like, I want this to feel wrong. And
Hmm.
like I intentionally want it to feel wrong. And that's
Yeah.
like the cool thing about costumes is like you kind of get to do those things. And so when I'm watching TV and film, like yes, I'm super aware of it, but I try not to judge it because I don't know. And I understand from my position, like how many voices are involved in a final choice. Like
Yeah.
you have directors, you have the studio, you have producers, you have the actors, you have the production design. Like, what does that look like? How is it going to be lit? Like, everyone's involved in affecting like clothing. So, I try not to be judgmental at all about other people's work, but I am aware of it, and I constantly am trying to be a student of like, what do I like, and then like once I like it, I'm like, why? Like I have
Yeah.
a Excel doc on my computer, Google Sheets, whatever it's called, of like every like when I watch movies, I'll like put it into the thing. I'm like, okay, who costume designed it? Where'd they shoot it? Um, and then I put in like the notes, like what did I like and what I didn't like, what worked for me, what didn't work. Because I think a huge part of being good at your job is just knowing your taste. So
Hmm.
a lot of when I watch TV and film is just like learning what I like and what I don't like. And sometimes in a movie, I could have visceral reactions to something, and then I'll go back and be like, why did I have the visceral reaction? What was it about that I really disliked? And sometimes I think, what would I have done to make it better? Or was that intentional? Like you really try to like dissect it. And I think being like a student is so important, because you can literally learn from everyone. And the gift of clothing is it is around me 24/7. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly being affected by my job, and I can always be learning. So yeah, I definitely look at it. It's really hard. There's so much that goes into it that you have no idea. Every movie set is so different, and you just have no idea.
If you could like any movie or television show from any year ever, if you that you've watched, is there anything where you're like, oh, I really wish I could have costumed that, or like that you really would have liked to costume?
Dude, honestly, Lady Bird is like a dream
Uh,
script. I think about it all the time. I'm like, I need the next Lady Bird so bad. Like,
uh-huh.
I want it so, so bad. I love stuff like that where it's like slice of life, coming of age. It's eccentric in such a realistic way. It
Yeah.
was done so incredibly, just phenomenal. Like, I mean, I would die to do that movie. I would love to do something like that in the future.
I was literally going to ask you about Lady Bird because it's actually like my favorite movie.
Really, I love that
I
movie.
love that movie. Oh my gosh. But yeah, you talked about this like dream movie of doing a movie like that. What like dream collaborations would be involved in this like dream coming of age Lady Bird movie?
Honestly, to have the DP and production designer from Obsession, we've worked together a couple times now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Taylor and Viv, and we just work so well together. Like our work all looks good together, and so
Uh-huh.
it's like we always like want to do stuff together. So yeah, I would love to get to create with them again. Like that would be the dream, is just to do it with them again.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. That I am manifesting that for you because
Thank you.
that sounds awesome. I want to ask you because I kind of asked you what you learned and took from acting and dancing and brought into costuming. What's the biggest thing you learned from celebrity styling? I know you still do that, but what's the biggest thing that you've taken from that into costuming?
I mean, I learned how to work with celebrities, and that was a huge thing. And I approach my fittings for costumes kind of like how I approach celebrity styling in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, but like when I've worked with people, like I think that I try to keep people involved so much if I can, like if I have the ability to keep the actors super involved in what I'm creating, I think it's really great. And I think celebrity styling really taught me how to like do that, because I do the thing is, and this is so true, and just really recommend this to any actor in the world, but like the things you wear in movies are also a huge part of your overall branding as a celebrity.
Yeah.
And so I think knowing both worlds and experiencing both worlds has been very helpful, because my approach is very personal to people, and my approach in general is personal but then celebrity styling is like all personal. So
Mhm.
you kind of take that and you put it into costumes, you switch around a few things. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like I think the biggest difference in learning how to like, be around celebrities, knowing like um, you know, like knowing good brands, like learning a lot of brands. I mean, celebrity styling was super crucial. It really helped so much in my career, and it connected me to a lot of brands and people and such. So I'm really grateful that's like my upbringing into costumes, because I feel like it actually gives me a different perspective
Mhm.
than most people. So I'm really grateful to have had that as my experience and my roots in a way.
Yeah. This you said this personal, you're very personal. How else would you describe yourself as a costumer?
I'm very personal, and I'm also, I'd say I'm pretty intense. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I am very passionate until the very last moment.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, like I would kind of get bullied by people and they'd say I cared too much or I was too intense. And I kind of just am like, who cares? I have one life to live here,
Yeah.
and I love what I do. And like, what a gift to be paid for what I love to do. I would literally do everything I do for free,
Hmm.
but I'm being paid to do it as well.
Hmm.
So it's like what a gift that is. And I just go all out. And I think the reason I got to where I am is because no matter what the project was, how small it was, how big it was, whatever, if it was going to go nowhere, if it was going to go everywhere, I put everything I had into it. And that got me to keep leveling up because people see that and they recognize it. But
Yeah.
it is something that scares people sometimes. I have to be aware of it as well. I'm very OCD. And
Hmm.
sometimes, with costumes, it's very different from styling. It's not, it can be more realistic. It can be more lived in. You're putting dirt on fucking clothes. Like, it's very different than styling. And it was something I really had to like learn to let go on. Obsession was like things not being perfect, but I just will never understand anyone who works so hard in prep and in the fittings, and then they get to set and they just don't look at the monitor. Like I
Uh-huh.
was I was a monster looking at the monitor. I was like, I if there is a second for me to walk in there and adjust, I adjust in between every take.
Hmm.
If I could get in there and put my hands on it, I wanted to, because I was like, why would I work for 2 months doing nothing else and then get here and just like relax? No, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna like make this as good as I can. Um, so yeah, I'd say like I'm very personal, but I'm also intense. And that's something I do work on, is like I I've just come to realize that like I have to hold that in sometimes, because sometimes it's not the right time to be intense. And
Uh-huh.
you interact with the actors, hair and makeup and wardrobe. We interact with the actors so much,
Hmm.
touching them. So like you have to read the room so well with people to be like, to know when is it the right time to approach, and when is it that you have to let go of your own needs and wants and let someone not get more irritated. Because at the end of the day, if you affect them, then like that's on you. You're affecting their job. Their job is emotional and mental. So you
Hmm.
can't affect it. So it's something I've definitely learned along the way, and like become more aware of like, when do I lean into that OCD and intensity, and when can I pull back and just let it go and let it be what it is, because at the end of the day, it's never that fucking deep. It's a fucking t-shirt. Like I'm so like it means everything, but I'm also like at the same time it doesn't. Like if I have an assistant that like messes up something and I'm not there, and like I see the final product, I'll just like text them. I'll be like, hey, like in the future, like let's adjust this. Like,
Yeah.
take the time to get in there and adjust it. Um, but I'm never like angry about it, because it really isn't that deep at the end of the day. I'm not gonna like hate anyone or hate my life for something not being perfect. It's just not, you can't last long if you think like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably a perfect transition over to obsession here. I'll give a pre-warning to anyone watching that the movie has been out for weeks, so I am going to ask you questions that include spoilers.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if people want to skip this part, they can. But I'll just preface by saying that. But yeah, it's been out. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
So before I go into specific looks, I want to talk to you more about the project in general. Um, uh, when just like in general, when you are reading a script, are you literally seeing like costumes in your head? Like, is that your process? Is that the way you see stuff? Because I know you reread it over and over and over, but do you see the costumes in your head when you're reading it?
Um, Not immediately. I see like little things here and there, but it's I can't really do it until I see the actor. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone builds wardrobe for a character until you have a physical body because you can imagine things all day long
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to get married to something or and then marry the director to it and then marry
Yeah.
the crew to it and then get the actor and be like, oh, they can't wear that,
Mm-hmm.
like it doesn't work on them. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. So it's like, I think for me, when I'm first reading a script, a lot is color. I see a lot of color. I'm just trying to like, I try to like approach it like a kid. Like I'm reading it and trying to imagine it. Like when you were a kid, you would read a fairy tale and imagine the world. Like I'm trying to see the world and I'm trying to like feel the vibe that it's giving. And that's kind of like the best way I could describe it. I think that's just like the madness in my head at that point is like, whatever I'm feeling. I write notes down. Like I literally read a script the other day where I wrote like aviator little girl from Up. Like it was like the first thing that popped in my head. And I just write it down because I'm like, you never know. Like it might come back to use again. I write down like just really crazy things. I need to find my OG binder from my first time I broke down obsession. Like I made that script nasty and in notes and stuff because I just would write down anything that popped in my head at any point, and then I shoot for the stars and then I just start narrowing it down, especially once I get the actor. Once I get the actor, it's like I can really start physicalizing. But before then, it's really just like imagination and getting specific notes from the director and like, working on things that um, don't really like have like like the castle's uniform shirt. Like I worked on that
Yeah.
before all the casting was finished. Um, but yeah, I mean, I can't really do it until I see a face. I don't really know how anyone can do it until they see a face. Like, I need to see a body. Like, I gotta have a physical. I can't paint on a canvas without the canvas. Like,
Yeah. So did you know the actors before your blind pitch with Curry? Did you know anyone who was in the movie at that point?
um, I think we had indie cast, and
Hmm.
that we had Indy and Cooper cast, and then we didn't have Michael when I pitched. We didn't have Megan when I pitched. So when I pitched, what I imagined Bear looking like was exactly what Michael looks like. And I just got so lucky on that. Um, but Megan's original vision board, it changed once I saw her. Once I
Hmm.
got her, like once I got on Zoom with her and I watched how like she smiled, how she talked, how she moved with her hands, I kind of was like, no, I see something different now. Like I kind of like transitioned a little bit once I saw her.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we had Indy and Cooper, which was helpful. But I didn't meet with them before I met with Curry. So, things also changed once I met Indy on the call as well. Like things just shifted over time because Indy had a lot of amazing and beautiful opinions and thoughts on Nikki. And so like I shifted a lot because I really loved what she was saying. And I really take what the actors say about their character. It's like full consideration.
Hmm. You mentioned this like this original 1950s housewife thought that Curry had. Were there any other like very things that drastically changed from that first initial meeting of like maybe pre-thoughts that he had or
I mean, that was like literally he said that to me like right before the our first pitch. So like I go on the Zoom, I'm like, hi, I'm Blair, I'm your costume designer. Cause I booked the job without meeting him first. So
yeah.
like when
Hmm.
I met him, I'd already had the job. And he was like, okay, like I was like, do you have anything to say before the meeting? He was like, oh, I just really think I love the idea of Nikki being like after the spell, kind of being like a 1950s housewife aesthetic. And something I've really learned working with different directors is sometimes what they say is not actually what they mean. And so you're actually trying to figure out what they mean. So a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know how to communicate clothing. And so, like, a lot of me and Curry's meetings were, I was the first costume designer he ever worked with. So a
Hmm.
lot of our meetings were like, I was kind of also teaching him like how to um, verbalize what he was wanting in costumes.
Yeah.
And it helped him like learn how to explain those things um, in general. But that was kind of the only thing he said before the meeting. And then he loves texture. That was a huge thing for him. Was he was like, I want all texture. And I was like, okay, like let me meet you in the middle because I can't. I sometimes I don't like when it's all textured. I feel like
Yeah.
texture really works when you pair it next to things that aren't so textured. It works when you have the balance in it. And so that was something I like really kind of like told him. I was like, hey, let's have really good textures for things, but also let's have things that are softer textures or different, like different fabrics, like radiate different, like kind of light reflectiveness in a way sometimes. So I was like, let's just do different things and try different things. And he was super down. Um, but something that was very specific that changed was he wanted Nikki in the corner to be wearing a trench coat
Oh.
when she's in the corner. And he ended up changing that. And he was like, oh, I want it to be one of like Bear's sweaters. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, we should do his cardigan. And so I bought the same cardigan we had on Bear. I bought two of them. I bought one that fit Michael, and then I bought one that was huge for Indy, so that like her sleeves would hang off
Yeah.
a drastic amount and like look creepier. Um, but that was like one of the only other specific things that really changed was the trench coat to the sweater.
Hmm. You've mentioned this long meeting you had with Indy. What was the other meetings like you had with the other actors?
They were great. Michael was super, super knowledgeable about his role. Michael is he was so dedicated to making Bear what Bear was on the screen. And like Michael's performance is 1000% a beautiful reflection of all the work he put into Bear.
Yeah.
I think if you can make audiences hate you, you did a really good job.
Yes.
He did a wonderful job and he was so wonderful to work with because, we kind of had to make him dress slouchier than Michael dresses on a day to day. And my first meeting with Michael was really great. He was so open and willing, and he had so many great ideas. The bracelet Bear wears the whole film is his. I kind of told him I was like, I'd love to have a bracelet, and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I have this one. I have this bracelet, and he showed it to me over Zoom, and I was like, oh my god, like we should wear it. I love that. Let's do it. And so he was really involved, and he was really open to wearing things that he was uncomfortable with as a person,
Hmm.
but knew would serve well as Bear. And yeah, I give Michael a lot of kudos. He was so willing and open, and it was very different than anything he had worn on screen prior to. He was like in Teen Wolf for years, so like it was very different, I think, than anything he was wearing in that. And yeah, he was great. Megan was phenomenal. Megan and I we like clicked so fast on Zoom. We were just like we had like girl time. It felt like, but Megan was so awesome. Like she cut her hair differently. Like she got like a wolf cut.
Hmm.
We talked about like you know just being open to play, being super creative, letting things change. She was awesome. She had a lot of thoughts on Sarah as well, but she was super open. Cooper was the same way. Cooper's fitting was so fun. He just like literally like it felt like he was like a kid in the candy shop. He was just having the greatest time trying on different styles and clothes. And um, it was so great to meet all of them because no matter how much you change and a character like you as a person is still there. And so to talk to them, to meet them, to see that Cooper had this like really strong beautiful confidence about him, and being
Yeah.
able to see that and then put that into his costumes to just really help reflect the best authentic version of these characters I could. And yeah, the actors were just phenomenal. Like I have like no notes. They were all really wonderful to work with. They were collaborative. They were open. They brought thoughts themselves, which was amazing. Yeah, they were all so great. I have like no bad things to say about my experience with them. They were phenomenal. Yeah.
Hmm. Not getting the production cards until 5 days before the fittings.
Yes.
And you talked about all these tabs that you had on Google Chrome with like things in your cart ready to go and some things that you really wanted that you weren't able to get. Can you remember any of these specific things that you really wanted, or maybe anything that any of the actors mentioned in the fittings that you really loved that you just didn't end up getting to include?
I can't really remember like this was like 2 years ago, so it's kind of hard to remember
Yeah.
sometimes like what I lost and what I didn't. Um, I got lucky on the purple dresses. I got lucky on Nikki's going out or like the boys' night thing. Um, I think like some of Sarah's like skirt options and top options I didn't get to get. Like so it was just kind of like backup options I really lacked on getting.
Hmm.
Um and like, what ended up happening was like some things came in later. So like I had to have Cooper have some late fittings in the first week of production, like during lunch or something, just like um, you know, if he wasn't shooting, just being like, hey, will you come in for 30 minutes today and just like do a quick fitting with me, stuff like that. Indy and I did some fittings like when she was having break time on set. Like we made it happen the way it had to. I was like the only person in my department.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I was just like, like, can we squeeze it in here? Like, just trying my best and figuring it out and not rushing it and being okay with things. There was a timeline, but like the actors were really graceful with me about getting it done because we did get the production card so late. So it did create like a hindrance, but that's why I ended up also thrifting a lot of the pieces because I couldn't get, duplicates. It was mainly just getting the duplicates ordered online that was huge, but like, Nikki's first costume is like mostly thrifted. And I did that because once I got the production card, I like just literally sprinted to stores and just started like literally going everywhere. Like from like literally the second day opened, I was like outside the freaking doors at like a Nordstrom, like just like clawing at the door, like I'm ready to come in. Um, but yeah, I mean, there were things I lost, there were things I got that were I thought were ended up being better than what it would have been, but it all worked out the way it was supposed to. And like I kind of always think that with clothes is like I never try to like cry over something I didn't get or lost because it's
Yeah.
like it wasn't meant to be at that point then.
Hmm. You said with Obsession it was such an immediate like, oh, this is exactly what I want to do with my life, and I can see your passion just talking about like all the preparation and being at the house so early. And what was it about this project that like ignited that in you?
Um, I just loved costumes. I had never done a feature film before Obsession,
Hmm.
and it was so cool to have so much time to really like dive into characters, develop them, arc them, apply color theory, apply little creative touches. Like I just thought it was so fun. I was like a kid in a candy shop. I was having so much fun the whole time. I loved set. I really, really loved set. That was just like literally some of the like best 4 weeks of my life. And the crew was phenomenal. The actors were phenomenal. It was just a really overall amazing experience. And I feel like Obsession was such a perfect first film for me because I feel like it really represents me as a stylist, as a costume designer, everything. And to have that be that representation is really beautiful. And yeah, I mean, it was a media. I kind of was like, yeah, I want to do this. I've liked celebrity styling, but I've always had like, a resistant to it being my entire career.
Hmm.
I love doing it. And it's really nice to do both costume design and styling because they're so different that it feels brand new every time you're doing it. It keeps it fresh. But I always was like, well, I never want to do styling full time. And so when I did Obsession, I was like, this is it. Like I started transitioning my life more towards it immediately. Like I was like, I want to do more of this.
Hmm. I want to talk to you more about specific looks. I've seen the movie twice now. I saw it once, and then I watched all your little like breakdown videos on the different outfits, and I went and I saw it again. So with that in mind, The first scene in the film, which was, I know, an added scene shot during reshoots, you talked about wanting Bear and the waitress to feel soft and pastel and romantic. The waitress also felt very starkly different from Nikki. Also, specifically, her big headband really stuck out to me. That's what I really keep thinking about. Can you just like break down these looks even more for me?
Yeah, so Bear's sweater, I wanted it to feel really constricted. Like I wanted it to be the best fitting sweater he wore in the whole movie. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to feel like really like nice guy, restricted, closed off kind of thing, stiff in a way too. And then I wanted the waitress to feel really, there's like no other color in that entire film. Everything's jewel toned.
Yeah.
Besides the uniforms are kind of more of a pastel green.
Mm-hmm.
And then the waitress, I was like, let's make this so different from everything. And Nikki wears red, Sarah's purple. It kind of like shifts into that. There's burgundies in between. There's blue, which like blue and red make purple. And then I was like, what's the other side of the hue of red, which is pink? And so that's kind of why how I chose pink for that. Curry and I initially had like when he pitched it to me, he was like, we're gonna do a vintage diner. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I ended up thrifting like a 1950s little waitress dress. And it was really cute and I liked it a lot. And then I was like laying in bed at like 2 in the morning before reshoots. And I was like, I don't want to hit it on the nose. Like I want to do something different. Like Curry's like all about the art of surprise. And I was like, why would I make it so obvious she's a waitress?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't I make this something completely different than what we'd seen? And so I chose the headband because I was kind of already on that 1950s energy. And then I really was like, capris would be super cool. I chose that like really slim white shoe from JW Pay to kind of give that vintage diner aesthetic. Because those are the shoes you'd wear with I mixed like the 1950s waitress and then I just made it modern
Yeah.
essentially. So the shoes and the headband are from that. And then the top I found like at a Nordstrom rack. There were three of them and I got so lucky.
Oh my God.
Um, but when I saw them, they were so perfect. The pleats on the shoulder are just like, I love pleats. Oh my gosh, they were so perfect. But I saw the color and I was like, that's so perfect. And that way, when she's sitting there, you kind of don't know who this fucking person is.
Uh-huh.
And then when Ian breaks the illusion and she stands up and you realize she's one of the waitresses, it adds this layer of surprise that I think really helped reflect in Curry's writing. Like he was doing that in the writing, so I wanted to reflect that in the wardrobe as well. And it was so funny. I like texted him at like 2 a.m. and I was like, we're changing everything. Let's do capris. And he was like, yes, I love that. And it's really cute. His the little waitress's name tag. It says Ruthie, which is his grandmother's name. And so we did that to like honor her as well.
Oh, you nailed that. I completely did not know it was a waitress, and I feel like it sets up the movie so well because from that moment on, you're like, okay, I don't really know what's gonna happen, and that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You call Nikki's first look her most important in the film, and I think you completely nailed that look. Uh, I know that the denim jacket was Indy's idea, and it was kind of like a last minute thing. Were there any other outfits you were considering for this first look for her? Like, what other outfits were in the running before you came to the final one?
The other outfits in the running were like mainly striped shirts, and just jackets on top. I kind of like I was playing with jackets,
Mhm.
but the denim oversized, we had like other options for the jacket. They were like a little tighter and shorter and like a crop. They weren't as oversized.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of what I was playing with was like striped shirts. And it was funny. I had this like reference photo of this girl wearing a striped shirt and these jean shorts. And I had used this reference photo for like everything. Like I'm placing it in locations. Like once I
Hmm.
started getting locations, getting the like digital design of like the house and what the PD is going to look like, I'm like moving it around these little icons I have, like seeing what they look like in the space and stuff. And it was so funny. I did one small photo shoot job like 3 weeks before Obsession shot. And I'm on set and I'm looking at this girl who like was creatively directing the photo shoot. And I was like, hey, I think I'm using your image as
Oh,
a reference photo in like this movie I'm doing. I think you're like the one. And it was her. And it was so funny. Her name's Michelle and she's an icon. And she actually ended up giving me those exact jean shorts in
okay.
that photo. She like gave it to me to have for the fitting. We didn't end up using it, but it was so funny to be using this one photo of this random girl. And then I'm like on set and I'm like, I think that's her. She has a very distinct look. So it was like, it was very like, I was like, that definitely is her. And I was like showing her all the slides and I was like, look, like you're literally in the space. Yeah. So it was like very striped shirts, but I definitely wanted that micro short boot thing. I thought that was like very of the time. It still felt vintage. I really loved the shape of it. And I
Hmm.
knew we were going to do like those silhouettes. So I thought um, her legs being more showing was
Yeah.
better for that.
Hmm. I want to talk about some of the Nikki looks you haven't covered, because I love Nikki's montage looks.
Yeah.
Like the big white sweater, the red button up, and I see she's wearing Bear's clothes in the kitchen, and then that like red outfit where they're in front of the TV. Again, another big headband. Can you talk to me a bit about Nikki's different montage looks?
Yeah, so she does the big sweater at the dining table. I balance these montage, I talked to Curry, I was like, I don't want to just do all red. I
Yeah.
feel like that just like red is such a passionate and intense color. And things over time lose intensity the more you're aware of it. And
Hmm.
so I told him, I was like, let's not just do like red, 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 red. Let's do variants of things.
Yeah.
And so I did it where she's wearing Bear's color palette. So she's wearing like tans and browns. And then I did the her wearing Bear's sweater when they're making pancakes. I just, that classic it's stolen from real life. Like, you when you're I feel like when you're early in a relationship, you love wearing your partner's clothes. Like
Uh-huh.
you love putting it on and wearing it like you love wearing their sweaters. I'm literally wearing my partner's shirt right now. Like, you want to like it's a cute thing, I think. And I felt it was really like a way to show that like honeymoon phase. I wanted everything to feel really romantic and honeymoon,
Yeah.
and almost as if they're both getting what they think they want. So like Bear in this moment is there's a part of him that doesn't think this is the wish. He's just
Uh-huh.
enjoying this love he's receiving. And we added in the headband montage look, the one that like everyone and their dog wants to talk about, which is the collar with the headband.
Yeah.
And it ended up being one of my favorite looks. And Curry, like when we were filming, he was like, I wish we did this for something else. Like I wish we could see him more. And so um I like don't love anything that's like in an ordinary thing. So like all the montage looks are singles besides the red collar look I did twice to break up the like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It kind of goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and it adds like an irregularness. It keeps people alive and aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
The red is spread out. It keeps people alive and aware of the red. I chose that everyone is calling it orange. It's not orange, it's coral that she wears as the headband. And
Yeah.
coral has a very romantic and feminine innocence to it.
Mm.
It's not as passionate and intense as a scarlet red. It's softer, it's more romantic, it's more innocent in a way. And so I chose that coral collar, which is literally just this button up I found at Goodwill for like so cheap. And I cut it up to make it a fake collar underneath, essentially.
Hmm.
And I did the headband because we did the reshoots at the same time we did the waitress reshoots. And I was like, okay, yeah, cute. Let's do like a callback to the waitress here.
Yeah. Hmm.
But Bear and Nikki are very coordinated and like all of those things. A lot of it was just like them looking matchy. They're like, it's not the exact same, but it's they're matching. You know, she's wearing his blue sweater, he's wearing his blue PJ pants. She's wearing two colors of red on the couch. He's wearing two shades of brown with the ringer tee, like just doing small things like that. Um, but yeah, I love that red collar look. It's probably one of my favorites. That color blocking of coral and like a faded bleached red
Yeah.
was just stunning. It literally, like, it was a very beautiful look.
Hmm.
And Indy just looks so cute in that little headband. Like, she
Oh,
just looks
yeah.
adorable. I mean, she looks beautiful in anything you put on the girl. Like, she's stunning, but the headband look I just thought was really precious and it felt really sweet, which allows the audience to soak in that. You kind of like,
Hmm.
again, that art of surprise, like you want to get them to sit into it. And like even the DP, like it's shot on a different lens. So like the frames are faster and shorter.
Yeah.
So it feels different, like in all regards.
Hmm. Another Nikki outfit. The outfit she wears, which you don't see for very long, but the outfit she wears while killing Sarah. This
Yes.
like, yeah, break this one down for me.
So the feeling I wanted, I watched a lot of old horror movies because this is my first big horror project. So I was like trying to figure out like what I liked in horror, what I liked with
Mhm.
blood. And I really liked I loved Jennifer's body because it never felt like blood was gonna get on it.
Yeah.
And that was something I really appreciated about it. But there is something about creating a clean palette too, and
Hmm.
letting the blood just be what people see. And so that was something I really sought after for that look, was letting the red accent on her for this time be the blood.
Yeah.
Because the first time you really get to see it is when right after she smashes the thing, and so blood appears immediately. And so I watched, what is it called? It's like this. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name, but it's with Jennifer Lawrence, and there's this
Mm.
scene where she's coming out of the water,
Oh.
and she's butt naked. And I remember watching, and I was like, oh my God, this is so feral. I love it. Like, there is this feeling of like, you don't give a fuck if what is like you have a goal and you don't give a fuck what's on your body. So I
Yeah.
wanted Nikki to emulate that. So like the whole movie, I'm just stripping her essentially. Like she starts with so many layers, so
Hmm.
much jewelry, like very accessorized. And then as time goes on, she's slowly getting stripped away from her autonomy, from herself.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I really wanted to show that being stripped away, and that she literally only cares about Bear, and like she doesn't even take the time to put on clothes. She's just going out immediately in what she's already wearing. So I kind of did it as based off what she was sleeping in. I obviously didn't want Indy to be, butt naked. So I was like, let's do
Yeah.
like a tank and boy short combo. I felt like it gave that same feral aspect without having to expose her too much. And I never wanted to overly expose Indy at all. I wanted her to always I think there is taste in when you start dressing women in less clothing. And I
Mm.
never wanted to do it in any way that felt um per se not with taste or class, in a
Hmm.
way, keeping that very at the forefront of my mind. But originally for that look, she was supposed to be barefoot. And
Oh.
then we went to this shooting location called RSI. And that's where we shot the outside of like everything, like the castle's music. And that's where we see the scene where she like carries the tuba case. They carry her down into the car into the tuba case. And
Yeah.
she's wearing those slippers and socks. Well, originally it was supposed to be barefoot because I really wanted that feral effect.
Hmm.
Um, but when we got to that set, thankfully, that was the first thing we ever saw of that costume. We got to set, and there was a lot of broken glass by that staircase that they
Uh-huh.
carry the body down. And those are her set slippers that she wore
Oh.
in the scene. Those are literally her set slippers. Like we had bought her a robe earlier that day. Indy and I like went to Target to grab her a robe to stay warm that day on set. And when we're at Target, she just randomly was like, "Can I get some slippers too?" And I was like, "We have the budget. Like, absolutely, let's get you some slippers." And thank God she said, "Can I get some slippers?" Like, it actually ended up saving the day because that's ended up what she wore in the scene because she couldn't go barefoot.
Yeah.
So that was a learning lesson to me to always have a backup shoe option if I'm choosing a barefoot moment. But thankfully, it all worked out. Everything always worked out in that production. It was like very lucky.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was kind of the thing was just to have it very plain, very feral, and then let the blood be the center point.
That completely translated, especially because like it stuck out to me the second time I saw it and the first time. I want to talk about some of the minor characters in the movie that outfits really stuck out to me. First, Haley Fitzgerald's Viola in the crystal shop. I loved her outfit, and I think I specifically the necklace with the fish on it, like that stood out to me. I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about Darren Tunder's Harry, uh, the other worker with the this open shirt, and again another big statement necklace piece that really stood out to me as well. Can you talk to me about these two different looks?
Yeah. So, um, to begin with, I knew the color palette I wanted to be different because it goes the crystal shop twice, once
Yeah.
at the beginning and once at the end. And so for Haley, I wanted to do orange because you put orange and it's like there, I mean, everything is cool toned in Obsession besides
Mhm.
the red. The red's the
Yeah.
only thing that is warm at all. But actually, Haley Fitzgerald's is the other one I use to do warm tone, like a warm tone outfit. And I do it because when I first read the script and I read the Crystal Shop, I was like, there's got to be something kind of magical about it. And I didn't want to like overdo it with like, I think that was the one costume I knew there's a very thin line of a caricature and a real person.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to feel magical, and I chose to do that through color over appearance in a way. And then for Darren's character, he wears like dark teal and like it's like kind of has like black stripes. I actually thrifted that shirt.
Oh.
Um, and the rings were from my ex. Those are like um, rings that he had gotten in Colorado, and they just ended up looking really cool. So shout out him for loaning me those rings. And what I did for it because I knew there was a really thin line of it being a costume or it being real. I went to 7 different crystal shops and I went to them in different locations. So I went to one in the Valley, I went to one in Silver Lake, I
Hmm.
went to like Burbank. I went to like literally so many places just to get an idea of what people were wearing, what real people were wearing right now in the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just felt like kind of cheaper hippie style clothing. Nothing was too glamorous about it. It was very simplistic. It felt whimsical, but in a real way. And that is really what I wanted to hone in on because I just didn't want it to feel fake. And I think, it, I think it would have been easy to do it really cheesy. And so I really just chose pieces I felt like the cardigan's like a grandma cardigan that we just used because I was like layering wise it made it more real. I
Hmm.
used like like a little like a harem pant on Haley to add that shape in there, but the top isn't a hippie top. The cardigan isn't like a hippie necklace. The necklace isn't even really a hippie necklace. It's like a
Yeah.
wooden fish. I didn't want to do anything that was too right on the nose because it just didn't feel like it would be real. And so like Darren's character as well, like it's very much of what I was seeing actually in real life versus what I imagined these characters could be.
Hmm. I know on bigger productions they usually when they are when they do extras they might send out a brief to whoever's getting the extras, but on an indie film how does that work? Are you dressing the extra, did you dress the extras? Did you have to deal with that as well? Because I know you did literally everything yourself. Did you have to deal with that as well?
So the extras were the days we had extras were the 3 days I had assistants on set and I had them to pretty much navigate them.
Yeah.
But for like the day in the music store, it was just me and our extras were our crew members.
Yeah.
So I had always like a rack of clothes that I pretty much had on deck with me at all times that were for extras, different flannels, different things. And I did build a brief out, but The days we had extras that like came to set, I'm actually an extra heavily in that movie as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm at the bar right behind Megan, and I chose to sit there because I could adjust them easy and still help out being an extra.
hmm
Um, and then I'm outside the bar as well. Like when they walk outside, I'm like in
Yeah.
it a lot. We're all in it. Um,
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh, I see. Oh, and that person?
yeah, we're all in it. So it was kind of just having that stuff on deck to like throw on crew members, having different jackets and layers and stuff. I was really picky about my color palette because I wanted that red to be very isolated. And so I was like, it's got to be literally jewel tone blue, purple, or green,
hmm
or browns, and no whites, no logos. There's a lot of rules. And you can literally be like, do not wear a red shirt and no logos. That's all you could say on the brief. And someone's going to motherfucking show up in a red shirt with a Nike swoosh on it. And you always have to have backups to give them. And so that's what I would have like extras come and help with, was just like coordinating that. And
hmm
then Haley Johnson, the producer, we would sit down and look at a monitor and be like, okay, I feel like that's pulling away from Bear. Like, let's change the flannel there. Let's move this guy's shirt over here because now there's more of a balance. And so Haley really helped a lot with me of like making sure the background is heavily monitored. We were very intentional about everything extra wise. Like it was very particular in what we were seeing, especially at the trivia bar. I was very anal about making sure nothing would pull my eye away from the four leads.
Yeah. You're talking a bit about monitoring like the monitor. What is it like seeing like these costumes in front of you versus through the lens of a camera? What is that like for you?
Like you mean like on set, like seeing it on set and then seeing it on
Yeah.
camera?
Yeah, I especially think of like the more like iconic looks in this movie, like the difference between seeing them in front of you versus then seeing them in a scene. Like,
Um, yeah, it's different. You can Taylor is like the DP. He is
yeah.
very organized, and so is Curry. They're very like they've pretty much shot and edited the entire movie before we even shot and edited it. So like there was this whole website where you could go in and look scene by scene exactly how it was planned to be lit, how is it going to be shot,
Mm,
how much of the framing we were going to see, which was so helpful in understanding. And there's such a rare thing. Like their organization was just like so helpful to my job. So I kind of had an idea, but I mean, you never know what, like, I'm still learning. And so there was a lot of things I learned once I saw things on camera and I adjusted and shifted things, just like small changes here and there, to accommodate that. And it's very different. You literally, the purple dress that both um, Indy and Megan wear in that
yeah.
movie, they look like two different dresses, and that's heavily because of the lighting.
hmm
And I think it's kind of cool that some people don't notice it. It's
Yeah.
kind of one of my favorite parts. I think it's really cool that some people notice it and some people don't. I think the intensity of the scene, a lot of people also are covering their eyes, I think, as well. But that's like a really cool thing. And I learned a lot on Obsession about like, I think I would make a few better decisions with like how dark it was. There were things
hmm
I was like, oh, I think I could have, done that a little differently. But um, yeah, you kind of can't ever fully predict because if the lighting changes even slightly, it looks different. And it's kind of just being there on the monitor and looking and adjusting it to accommodate. I'm always looking at the negative space, which is like the skin around the clothes, like what of the skin is showing. And the negative space to me is how I direct the audience's eye to the face. I'm
Yeah.
always trying to draw the attention right back here.
hmm
And I feel like that's the best way I can support the movie is by building outfits that constantly just pull to the face.
Yeah. I love where you said that you always put one thing of your mom's in everything you do, and you also talked about Bear's New Balances being because your grandfather used to wear them religiously. Are there any other minute details like similar to those where you drew from your family while costuming Obsession?
Yes. Ian is dressed exactly like my father in his last costume. And it's like a windbreaker and gym shorts. Like that is like my dad's Sunday uniform. Like since I was born, he has worn that outfit. And it was so funny. He saw the movie and I texted him. I was like, "Did you notice?" And he was like, "Notice what?" And I was like, "I literally dressed a character identically to how you dress." And he was like, "I didn't notice that." And I'm like, "How did you not notice that at all?" I don't know. It was so funny. But yeah, I pull from my life all the time. Like I was like, oh, what is Ian wearing like on a boys' night on a, or like the morning after a boys' night? And I was like, well, my dad wears this on Sunday mornings, and then that's kind of how I got to it. And it makes sense. Sometimes like you see things in real life and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, or you see someone in public and you're like, oh, that makes sense for that
Hmm.
person. That gives exactly that emulates what you need it to.
Hmm.
And it just so I don't do it like to force it. If it emulates it correctly, I pull for my life. Definitely. I'm way more inspired by the things around me than I am anything on a TV or film.
Hmm. Um, I want to commend you on doing this entirely by yourself, especially also being a legal assistant. You told a few pretty wild stories about like last minute changes and running around. Do you have any other wild stories or memories that stick out to you from your time with it?
Ah, gosh, so many. I made so many mistakes along the way, and a lot of people gave me a lot of beautiful grace in learning things. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. There were so well, here's just one. I Megan had this white lace tank top that she was going to wear. I think she posted it on her Instagram as like a BTS fitting photo. And I didn't want it to be stark white. Nothing in the movie is stark white.
Hmm.
Everything is off white, a butter yellow, a cream. And so it appears white on film, but they're actually all cream. They're all off whites.
Hmm.
And so I took the tank top and I was like, okay, I'm gonna dye it cream. And I stuck that thing in a dye bath and I pulled it out and it was like neon yellow. And I was like, oh my fucking God. And I did not have time to get another one of the white ones. And so I felt really bad. I had to tell Megan, I was like, we have to do something different. I'm really, really sorry. We ended up just doing like a plain cream tank
Hmm.
instead. And I felt really bad because she really loved it. And so I bought her the white lace tank and gifted it to her like at the end of production, just to
Oh.
like say, like, I'm sorry for dyeing your fucking tank bright yellow. But yeah, I mean like stuff like that happened where it was just like you like we were on such a time crunch, like and so many things were like so last minute, like so many people in my life, like my friends like pulled, like would go to my house and like grab something for me and bring it to set. Like so many things like that happened because I was just by myself. So it was like I couldn't be like, hey, go grab that. Like
Yeah.
I had to be like, someone's got to go get that. And I like just called my community and like pretty much asked like so many friends. I have a lot of friends that live near me, so I'm very lucky. But a lot of people helped out. So I was very grateful for like the people that stepped in and helped. But it was me, but it was also a big team effort in my life as well of like my friends and community that helped me a lot during that time. And yeah, I was just one of them. I did so many things that were, just not how I should have done it. And I learned it and I was like, never doing that again. So, it's all about learning and I'm never going to know all the rules and all the tricks. And that's like the fun part of what I do is I get to keep learning it.
Yeah. You've talked about Ian's hat that we don't really get to see during the party scene, but are there any other like really small details that no one's noticed yet that maybe you're really proud of or you really love?
Hmm. Um, there's like a little chain bracelet on Sarah's boot at trivia night that like no one has seemed to notice. um, There is one detail that we just don't really get to see because the one shot we used, it flipped. And it's this keychain I put on Bear's backpack. And it's this bear that's like hiking in the forest. It's like him in just hiker gear. And I thought it was like kind of demonic looking. And so I put it on his backpack. But the one scene we used for it, and also fun fact, that backpack Bear carries is Curry's personal backpack. Because I like showed Curry, I was like, oh, I want this like Jansport blue backpack. He was like, I got that. And so that's what we ended up using. It was Curry's backpack. But the one shot we used for where you would have seen the keychain, it flipped. And so
Mhm.
it's just silver, which I should have taped down. That was the lesson I learned there, but it's a fun fact I get to just keep in here. But yeah, I feel like most things have been exposed at this point. Like I feel like I'm like all the secrets are out.
Yeah, like you talked about the blood, about having to deal with that. If you go into another production that has a bunch of blood, what what are you gonna do differently next time? That sounds so scary.
Everything. I would literally
Everything.
do everything differently. I would absolutely do everything. Ali Shehorn, our head of makeup and special effects, she taught me so much. I probably will end up calling her, asking her for advice on things. But yeah, you just learn a lot. And like, I'd probably do a lot of blood tests. After Obsession, I like just bought a bottle of fake blood and I started pouring it on random fucking fabrics just to see what it did, how it fell, how it dried, all this different stuff, and just taking notes. Honestly, cosplayers just teach you so much on the internet. And I looked up a lot of cosplay videos about blood and like tricks for doing blood, how to make it lighter, how to make it darker, looking up like what blood looks like at different times once it oxidizes because it changes color over time.
Hmm.
Just really took the time after Obsession to educate myself so that when I would get to that next point of having to do blood again, I would be prepared. And like the next film I did was horror. And so on my iPad, I also after Obsession learned how to use Procreate on the iPad because I was like, I need to learn how to sketch. And a big reason I wanted to do that was to sketch the blood and pre-plan the blood or
Hmm.
any like distress on the clothes. And so for the next film I did, I pre-planned like where the blood would probably go and where it needed to be placed on the costume to um, show that preparation. It really was just like a lack of preparation and knowledge. And so now I've like taken the time to educate myself on it. And I was given a lot of grace and I taught Ali Shehorn taught me a lot about
Hmm.
that experience. So I have so much respect for that department. Holy shit. I literally am like crazy town USA. What they do is amazing.
Hmm. Are there any other big lessons that you're gonna take away from Obsession? I know you've already worked on a few things after. I know you worked with Indie again,
Mm-hmm.
on Vertigo. Are there any other big lessons that you want to take from your time working on Obsession?
Everything. I learned like every day I was like, I'm learning 9,000 new things a day. But yeah, I mean, like, I think something I want to hold on to with Obsession as I get higher into film is like just that the artistry I felt. I think when I did in Vertigo, I felt this level of pressure to outdo myself that I'd
Yeah,
already done. And I feel like that kind of hurt me sometimes in the process of it. And it blocked me. But Obsession, I was just having a hoot and a holler of a time. I was like, everything in the world is possible. And I think that mindset, there's something beautiful about it because there's an innocence to creating that way. And I feel like it really showed in my work and Obsession was I was just willing to break rules, do something different, I don't think what I did was like revolutionary or groundbreaking, but it's very different than what you see right now in
yeah,
media. And so I was really nervous about it. Like I was like scared, like shitless about how people were going to perceive my work on Obsession. And it was kind of my first time my work was getting to that level of publicly seen.
hmm,
Um, and obviously, it ended up being a way larger exposure than I had ever imagined.
yeah,
And so it's really scary when you experience it the first time as a creative because you're kind of like, well, I don't really know how. I know how like my local LA community responds to my work, but I don't know how the world, like different cultures, different people, different ages, like all this
yeah.
stuff. You think about it and you're like, wow, I'm really about to be told what people think about my work. And I took a risk. I took a really big risk in the way that it just isn't reflective of anything you see right now
Hmm.
in TV and film. Again, not revolutionary, groundbreaking, but different than what is out there right now. And I was really scared about it. And it's really nice to get the response it's gotten because it's really encouraged me to just keep doing things different. So Obsession was like, there was an innocence and a beauty into it because I was doing it just for fun. And I think there's always some part of you that has to keep doing that because once it gets logistic, once you get to those higher projects, there's a lot more opinion and a lot more money and a lot more politics. There's a lot of things involved versus just like being in my bedroom making outfits. Like it was, I remember working in an office for the first time for costumes and I ended up like during Vertigo showing up to the office like 2 hours early every day so that I could like I literally asked like the cleaning lady if she would let me in early when she got there in the morning because I wanted 2 hours alone just the clothes because I'm very intimate with my work and
Yeah.
I found like a lot of the blocks I was experiencing was that I was just so visibly seen by people. There was like no privacy to my work area. And I kind of realized really quickly, like, wow, I like I really value intimacy with my work. And so that's something I just have to prioritize. And so I started doing it. I was showing up 2 hours before, kind of behind my team's back because my team was so hardworking and great that if they knew I was coming early, they would have been like showing up early with me
Uh-huh.
secretly. Um, but I was like doing it because I had to have that childlike wonder. And that is the stuff that makes my work the way it is like that intimacy, that childlike imagination. And so I think the one thing I'd take, long story short, the long thing I'd take from Obsession is just maintaining that as I go up because that's like the root of where I create. And I think that can be so easily lost. And I got a long career ahead of me. So
Yeah.
I gotta like be smart and strategic about taking care of myself and my creative self.
Hmm. Yeah. Can you tell us anything about about the projects? I know, like, can't say like what's going on with them, but like, can you tell us anything about what we can look forward to with these projects you have coming out? I saw a few of the ones you have coming up on IMDb there.
Fall two, I did not do the majority of it. I was just the LA unit. So
Yeah.
anything you see as like a flashback or on like a camcorder is my work.
Hmm.
But the costume designer Mock in Thailand, who I met through Vertigo, she ended up being my ACD on Vertigo. I admire her so much. She did most of the work on Fall. So it's like her work and my work together. And then I got to meet her actually when I did Vertigo, and she was my ACD. And then Vertigo, Fall comes out August, and then Vertigo comes out sometime in 2027. We don't know yet. But I'm excited to see it. I only got to be there for 1 week of the set. So I really like don't know what it looks like. So it's like it's kind of crazy. Like Obsession, I was so there the whole time, and it's really scary. Like I just told you how controlling and intense I was about Obsession looking the way it did in the
Hmm.
wardrobe. And then for the Vertigo job, I was there for 3.5 weeks. I was only there for 1 week of set, and then I had to be like this. Kind of crazy. Like the hardest part is I had to give trust to so many people to take care of my work because it's going to be my name at the end of the day. But I could not have done in Vertigo without my team there. Like that was, they are like literally, I was like, wow, that was my first time working with a team. I had like 7 people under me, and I was like, oh my god, I have to be in charge of people. I was like, oh, I'm not only in charge of myself, but in charge of others. It's kind of crazy. The higher you get, it's more just like telling people what to do
Yeah.
than doing it. And Obsession, it was just me doing it. And then in Vertigo, it was a lot of me telling people to do the things I needed.
Uh,
Yeah.
Kind of a last question for you here. This is one of my favorite questions to just ask people. And that's if you could give your past self a piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like I want to take advice from my past self. Like I was very bold as a child. Like I'd probably just like tell her like you're gonna figure it out because I think I always knew like as a kid I was like I always believed in myself a lot as a kid because a lot of people did not believe in me because the weight thing, people are really like fat phobic and they
Hmm.
don't, if you have big dreams and you're a chunkier little kid, people just don't believe you when you say it. And so like so much of my childhood was like me believing in myself. And I'm really grateful for that time because I don't really feel like I need validation from people to believe in myself right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously everyone does to some degree, but like for the most part, I really am a huge part of my validation system. Um, but I would probably just like tell her, like, you know what you're doing, like you got it. Like I knew I was gonna do something big, whatever that may be. I was gonna excel in whatever I did. And I was the only one that believed it for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, my parents always believed in me as well, but um, it's really weird when you tell people like your big dreams and they kind of like don't agree or they don't see it, and you're like, okay, and you just gotta end up like doing it yourself. And so I would just keep telling my little self to keep going and keep moving on, keep trucking. Um, yeah, I feel like I always am like, my little self was really bold and smart. I
Yeah.
was so bold as a kid. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I would just go up to people and tell people like, and I still do it in adulthood, like tell people exactly what I want. I have no shame in telling people what I want to do. Like I would just walk up to filmmakers and be like, I want to style your music videos. Like I want to do this, I want to do that. And I did that as a kid and it worked out. People don't tell people enough of what they want.
Hmm.
It's
Oh,
like it's a huge part
completely.
of getting things. Just tell people you want to do it and they'll probably respond.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's why I just called you up because because I
Yeah,
wanted to talk to you. Yeah. Thank you so much for answering all my questions.
of course.
Like truly awesome to talk to you. And also I love the movie and I'm so excited to see all the work you do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.